Hi, I'm Michael Niemerg, Fellow of Society of Actuaries. The SOA is taking the opportunity to highlight volunteers' efforts in supporting the profession and their communities. Joining me today is Deana Bell, FSA. So, Deana, when did you first start volunteering at the SOA?
Think my first few instances of just volunteering and helping out was doing some of the proctoring within my own actuarial practice for students that needed an FSA. And I actually also recorded a podcast for the health section on something that I was passionate about, Medicare Advantage risk scores. But really, real volunteering happened when I ran for and joined the health section council. It was in the fall of 2018. And this is a group that just oversees all the amazing education opportunities for healthcare actuaries. And that's been my jam.
So, what prompted your decision to volunteer?
It was a great friend and colleague of mine, Jennifer Gerstorp, who works in my practice, and she was rolling off and helping the council recruit for the lineup of people that might get on. And so she recommended that I join. She thought I had the chops and the skills to contribute in a good way. And I'm so glad that she encouraged me to run. And eventually, yeah, I got on. So I thank Jennifer so much for that, because I think it's opened up great opportunities for me, but also ways to give back.
That's great. So, was there a particular SOA volunteer who inspired you, or just a person that made a difference in your life?
Yeah, so besides Jennifer Gerstorp, I have John DeMeo, who was my first actuarial mentor. He was somebody that oversaw my actuarial internship, and I know he volunteers for the Society of Actuaries through the examination program. And I've always seen him as just somebody that guided me in those initial, when I was trying to figure out my professional career. He answered all my questions. He gave me that working opportunity. He told me about how the society works with the exams and what you do afterward when you're an FSA. And I just see him lead by example by just constantly giving back. That's one person. I mean, that's the beginning. As far as right now, I've met so many more people through the health section council that I look up to and have learned so much from. I have a crew of healthcare consultant women that during these weird times, we're getting together over Zoom and just talking about our experiences. So Ashley Borkin, who I think has been featured in these videos, Kelsey Stevens, Jackie Lee, they're just so much fun. And then a lot of people that have been doing volunteering for just bringing diversity and inclusion out in the open for our profession. I think Olga Jacobs puts together the health meetings, women's lunch hour. I was really impressed with the entire panel in the 2019 meeting that I went to. So yeah, so many people, I could keep going.
Oh, that's awesome. So, thinking back on your volunteer history, was there an instance where you knew that you were making a difference, a sort of an aha moment?
Oh yeah. So one of the things that I get tasked with and doing on the health section council is being part of the health meeting program committee. And I'm actually the chair of the 2020 health meeting, which is now a virtual meeting. But a year ago, when I first got on the council, essentially really got my feet wet, I was on the group of 3 people that put together the lineup of all the sessions, that review the session proposals, that coordinate answering questions about how this meeting is if you're a presenter, how it all works, and then just being part of the crew that's at the meeting, making it happen. I was so happy that I was able to flex my organizational skills and just made sure that there was really great content during the meeting, and then the feedback rolled in, in the app. People can enter in, like, did they like the sessions? Was it a relevant meeting? Did I learn new stuff? How was the networking? And it was really good feedback. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is amazing that this came together, this health meeting, and I got to be a part of it, and really cool stuff happened. So that was last year. And this year, man, we had to pivot and make our Chicago meeting a virtual healthcare meeting. And again, it's like, okay, this is going to be intense. We're pretty much planning the meeting twice. let's do this. And just being able to see that through and have the virtual meeting come together so quickly, and making sure we have that opportunity for our members to have the continuing education, even though they're not there in person, we can have really good presentations and all that available online. So again, those two instances have been pretty like, okay, this is why I'm here. Let's get this done.
Oh, that's great. So you kind of already touched on this, but how did that realization make you feel?
Well, like a valued member of the committee, somebody that like made it happen, so I could see those results almost immediately. Like this meeting is on, and one of the reasons is that, you know, it's in my, I don't have a lot of spare time, but we came together and we got it done. So it feels really good.
Great. So how does being an actuary and volunteering your time make an impact on others, in your opinion?
Well, I think bringing to light this amazing profession to young people, for me, that's always been something I've loved to do. I've loved to talk about my job, and being able to do it in a bigger way through SOA volunteering is something that I really value that. So being like the candidate connect sessions, I did those at the SOA health meeting, and talking to those college students that are well on their way and giving them my perspective. That's a huge thing. That can really change someone's life. I think in one instance, I was able to talk to somebody at Candidate Connect, and then we just kept talking over LinkedIn after that. And I watched her on her journey going from a college graduate to getting her first actuarial job. And I'm like, yes, this is why I'm doing this. Or just talking to high school students, you know, friends of friends. You have a parent finds out that you do math for a career. Okay, my kid knows how to do math. Can you talk to them? Like, yes, of course I can. I love talking about our career. So having the ability to have an even bigger platform through SOA volunteering is great. And then the educational opportunities, just making sure that we have the most relevant content, cutting edge out there for healthcare actuaries and all actuaries is so fun to see. Like, I'm proud of what we can put out with our podcasts, our webcasts, our white papers and research. I could see that, like, for me, it's really valuable that it's out there. And just thinking about for our career, it's great to see.
Oh, really cool. So I guess a follow-up, how does being an actuary and volunteering make an impact on society at large, do you think?
I think, like, we have our Math Motivators program, which is a foundational thing that with the Actuarial Foundation that we do. That's giving back to our community spot by spot, and making sure that students can keep up with the really important foundational math work. That's obviously an easy thing to call out, but just making sure that we're studying important things that help our society. With healthcare reform and now the COVID pandemic, actuaries are out there helping solve those problems, making complex things, explaining complex things, guiding people that are thinking through these processes and the strategy of how to deal with this. Actuaries are out there. So, and these are volunteers that are all the COVID research that the SOA is putting out. This is all done on volunteer time. You know, they're not getting paid for this. This is important work for our society. So that's just one huge example right now. But we've been doing this all along. Healthcare reform, anytime anything like that comes along, we're out there explaining in real people's terms very complex things.
So Deana, what would you say to someone who is considering volunteering?
I think you should do it. And there is a right time in your career. Maybe it's very challenging when you're like in the storm of taking exams and you're like, how do I even scrape up enough time to do anything? But you can start with little things, right? Doing a webcast. If you really know something very well, putting it out there, teaching somebody about your model, your craft, your line of work that you do as an actuary. That's one small way to volunteer, right? It's one deliverable that you put out there. But then it could snowball. Say you want to just broaden your network and give back even in a bigger way, have that bigger platform. That's when I think, hey, the health section council or your own section's council, that's a really amazing way to be a part of that, because you see it all then, like all the different cool things that are going on, and you can help people like, hey, I know we're doing podcasts and we're looking for somebody that can talk on this. You're part of my network. Do you think you'll be interested? You could really help another person um, get their information out there, get their name out there. It's really neat. So yeah, I am totally like, go do it. It's fun and impactful at the same time, and it's not like a second job. It's something that you can fit in and have it sort of integrate with what you're already doing.
Deana, thank you for sharing your stories on volunteering.